Hello.
Hello,
I think we are live now, yes?
Yes, we are.
With a new session about Pims and Appframe.
Yep.
And today, what's the topics?
Today the topic is an event that we sent out a questionnaire.
Apped.
A
A few years since the last Apped, but we're back now, this time digital version.
Yeah, following the trend.
Yes.
And we want to show you, share the screen here, and to see the response and how we went on and choose.
More than hundreds replied to the questionnaire, and latest web development tips, that was the hottest one, I think. 4.11 average rating, so web development is hot, and upgrading Pims databases, also among the most popular ones.
Yeah.
And based on this, we ended up with 9 sessions.
Yeah.
Top 9 we have picked out.
Yeah, we did, and I think how we did it as well. We looked at all the 5 stars versus the ones, so kind of the average, yeah, combining them.
Yeah.
And then so here we have the new splash screen that we'll use throughout the Apped. Here we have the agenda.
Yes.
We'll look at them at Monday through Wednesday.
Yeah. And each session we plan to be like these sessions that we have on these Fridays, 15 to 30 minutes perhaps.
Yeah.
Starting off with upgrading Pims databases, different strategies, pros and cons. We talk about the latest web development tips. We might split it there into tips for the beginners in the world of web development, and really advanced tips as well. We get Peter and some of the Appframe web developer gurus tell us about these things. And then we have a session about how to make your clients happy without customizing. That I think will be interesting to hear what
and this will be kind of a Q&A,
yeah.
So active session.
Yes.
Yeah, and then on Tuesday we'll dig into how Pims, the application development using Flutter, mobile native. We'll look at the difference between R4 version and the 365 version. Next platform on Windows. We have seen a little bit of it, but going a bit deeper on how the development is going. And then you, Johnny, will have a case study on Pims in total, both implementing but also how it's used globally.
Yep. And then on Wednesday we'll dig into security, how to make sure that our Pims applications are secured. There's a lot of potential threats out there when we are out in the cloud, so it's really important that we know how to protect ourselves.
Yep.
And then Vidar Nunes will follow up with some more SQL myth busting. That was a popular session we had before, and he has some more myths to bust. And then finally, from Skoda to Ferrari, how to optimize your Pims for speed. That could be using SQL tricks or smart web development tricks, or tuning up your servers, whatever. We'll have different views on that.
Yeah. And then rest of this session today we'll go into how BIM, our 2D, 3D module in Pims is being used, and the product responsible, Per Olav, has created a session on how BIM is used in Pims. We'll go over and see this now.
Okay, let's talk about BIM in Pims. First, I'll give you a quick introduction of how the BIM module works, and afterwards we'll jump into Pims and see how it looks there. You can split the BIM module into 4 main sections. First section is the mapping screen, where you upload your IFC files into Pims. You can also map the different properties of the IFC files into this database structure in Pims. When you've done uploading your files, Pims will parse all the IFC files, and when the parsing is done, you will head into the BIM revisions. Here you can analyze the results of the parsing and you'll get a quick overview of what has happened in this revision as compared to the previous revision. Once you have approved the revision, you can do one of two things. Either you go into the IFC objects and get a database representation of the objects that you have parsed, or you can go into the BIM Viewer and have a look at the 3D model of the project. But let's start at the beginning and look at the mapping screen in Pims. The mapping screen in Pims is where you'll upload your IFC files. The grid on the left shows all the IFC files you've uploaded, and you can select which discipline the file belongs to, and there is an indicator if the file has been parsed or not. A yellow icon means that the file has not been parsed, and a green icon means that the file has been parsed. When Pims has parsed the IFC file, you will get the option to map the properties from the file to the Pims database. These are all the IFC classes that are included in this particular file. So if we expand this IFC class, we can select which column in the database we want to map an IFC property to. In this case, we want to map a property to a component column in Pims. So we click this button and we are presented with an overview of all the properties in this IFC file. If we scroll down until we find the property that we want to map, we will select this type property. We click it and we are asked if we want to do this mapping on all the models, and if we want to do this mapping on all classes or only for the IFC door class. We will only do it for the IFC door class. And if we see the mappings for IFC door, we'll see that type has been mapped to the component column. When you've done all the mappings that you want, we'll let Pims parse the IFC files and head over to BIM revisions. BIM revisions gives you a quick overview of the result of the parsing. The grid to the left shows all the revisions and gives you the status of them. Here you'll see the number of objects parsed in the revision, and the number of rooms, and you can choose which revision you want to compare against. If we compare against revision 3, this chart gives you an indication that there has been a development in the electrical discipline. If we want to examine it further, we can drill down in the electrical discipline and see all the files that are included in electrical. We can see that this file has had some development as well, so we can click this file and see which IFC classes that are included in this file. So basically it's the element proxy and the distribution port classes that have increased. We can also have an overview of the development of the number of objects per revision and the number of rooms per revision. If you have mapped the maturity index from your IFC file to Pims, we can have a look at that as well. Here we can see that there has been a big increase on objects on the F2 status from the previous revision to the current one. If you want to examine it further, we can drill down to the F2 status, and we'll see that it's the VVS discipline that has had a big increase in objects on status F2. We also have a chart that shows the distribution of the maturities of all the objects in the revision. So here we can see on revision 3, there were most objects had revision F1. On revision 4, there were lesser objects on F1 and more objects on F2, and it continues like this. So you can see that the maturity of the project seems to improve with the revisions. Once you're happy with your revision, you can improve it, and once it's approved, you can it will be available for all users in Pims. So let's approve the revision and head into the IFC Objects screen. The BIM Objects gives you a database representation of the objects from the IFC file. The grid on the left shows all the IFC files in the project, and the grid in the middle shows all the objects from the selected IFC file. The pane on the right shows you the properties for each object. And this is where the mapping we did in step 1 comes in handy. We have taken the properties and mapped it to the different columns in the database. So for instance, the type code property has been mapped into the type code column. That gives us some options, for instance, to filter on the class name of the objects. Let's say we only want to look at the flow controllers. We can quickly filter for that. Furthermore, we only want to see the object with this given type code, and here is the result. Of course, all these objects also have a 3D representation, and that is what we will have a look at in the BIM Viewer. When you open the BIM Viewer in Pims, you are presented with a 2D plan, which is generated based on the IFC files. If you click on a room, it gives you an overview of which issues, controls, tests and documents that have been attached to the room. If we want to get an overview of all the controls on this floor, for instance, we can click the control button and it will indicate that the red rooms have controls that have not yet been done. The green rooms have controls that are all been done. The blue dots shows you that there is a control that is directly connected to an object. And this control is to control a countertop that has been installed. So if we show the room in 3D, we should be able to find the control there as well. The countertop is behind us, and if we click on the countertop and look at the control tab, we can see that the control is here as well. If you click the control, it will open in a new tab to make it easy to perform the control on, for instance, a tablet or a phone. If we click on the info pane, you can see all the properties of the object, which is gathered from the IFC file. You can also attach documents to an object. If you click on this wall and select the Documents tab, you can see the documents that are attached to this object. If you click on a document, it will load the document profile for this document. If you want to download the document directly, you can click the download link. There are different tools in the BIM Viewer, but we can have a look at a few of them. We have a measurement tool, which will help you measure the object in BIM. So we can see that this desk is 75 centimeters deep. If you want to measure the distance between two objects, you can click on this object and the other one. Of course, it's not so easy to find the right axis. So if you click on the measurement, it will give you the measurement in all three axes. And in this context, it's the x-axis that we are looking for. To get rid of the measurements, you just close them, or you close the measurement tool. We also have the possibility to show and hide disciplines. So if we go into the Show and Hide tab, you can select which discipline you want to view. So if you hide the electrical discipline, you can see that all electrical objects will disappear. You can also hide individual objects. So if you click on this plate, you can hide it from BIM and it will be removed. If you want to have it back, you can remove it from this Hidden Objects card. We also have the option to slice the model. So to do that, we make a new slice. We click the plane that we want to slice, and we can adjust the slice with dragging the mouse in this rectangle. We can also choose to only view objects from a certain contract, and this is the ventilation contract. We also have a tool to show properties from an object, from several objects at the same time. If we start annotation, you can see that the properties become blue. Let's say we want to find the size of this pipe. So we click the size, and we also want the size of this pipe, and we want the size of this pipe. We also want the height of the installation. This gives us all these properties on the different objects at the same time. You can remove an annotation by closing it, or you can remove all annotations at the same time. If you want to quickly navigate on the floor, you can use the minimap to go. Let's say we want to load this room, we click this room, and it will load. So this was a quick overview of BIM in Pims. It's a powerful module, and there is a lot of information in the IFC files. So if you use it in the right way, it will really add value to your project.
Okay, that was Pims in BIM.
Yes,
It's
interesting.
quite cool. Yeah, lots of goodies going on in Per Olav's team.
Yes.
Okay, this was this for this Friday.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and check. We have got some new videos there as well. Cost management, Pims cost management is also available there now, and there will be more product videos coming the coming months.
Yes, yeah, and this BIM video is also as a separate video on the channel. So if you want to see it again or distribute it, then you do.
Yep.
All right.
Have a nice weekend.
Yes. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.
Bye.